guys, today I'm going to be sharing a few zero waste travel tips with you guys. I have been traveling back home. I have traveled from Delhi to Bombay and then to Diu, and currently I'm in Gir Forest in Gujarat, and I'm having the time of my life. So I sat down to think about all the zero waste tips that I have discovered in my travels this time, because earlier, of course, I wasn't as sustainably conscious, and now I have a few zero waste tips that I can share with you guys, and I hope you find them useful. Before I begin sharing my zero waste tips, I would like to explain why we need to consider these tips and why we need to reduce or waste or be conscious about it while we are traveling. Air travel happens to have the largest carbon footprint out of all the other modes of transportation, and that's a problem because most of us nowadays are short on time and cannot afford the luxury of traveling in trains or even via road. So we are stuck to traveling via flights. And I did a little bit of a research, and as it turns out, traveling only 100 kilometers via an airplane produces 24 kilograms worth of carbon dioxide. I did a quick calculation of the carbon footprint of the flights that got me from Delhi to Diu, and as it turns out, those flights alone would have produced 607 kilograms of carbon dioxide. That means even if I divide that entire carbon footprint over, say, 100 people who are traveling along with me, it would still mean that an individual who traveled from Delhi all the way to Diu would have generated 6.07 kilograms of CO2 just by traveling from Delhi to Diu. Now, 6.07 kilograms of CO2 may not be a whole lot, but if you add up all the flights that you take in and here, I am pretty sure that I alone would be contributing anywhere from 25 to 30 kilograms of CO2 to the atmosphere just by traveling via flights. Here's what that carbon footprint actually means. A fully grown adult tree can absorb about 18 kilograms worth of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in a year. Depending on how much you travel, it would take at least 2 or maybe 3 fully grown adult trees to offset the carbon footprint that you are generating by virtue of traveling via air. Now, of course, I'm not saying that we should stop taking flights because it's not possible in the fast-paced world that we live in. Sometimes we don't even have the means of traveling by a road or traveling by trains. We don't have that option. So, if we are going to be taking flights, there are a few tips that I can share with you that would reduce our carbon footprint just a tiny bit. But as we all know, and as I have mentioned quite a few times in my videos, every bit counts. So, here's all the tips that I have for you guys. Here's tip number 1. Carry your own water bottle. Now, this is a tip that I have discussed at length with you guys in my video, how to reduce your plastic waste. You can check it out here if you haven't watched it already. This tip is important because when you're at the airport or when you're traveling, if you don't have your own water bottle, you will end up buying plastic water bottles from the airport or on your flight as well, because you will get thirsty while you're traveling. So if you have your own water bottle, you can drink up all the water that you have and then refill them from the water fountains that are available at most airports. Now, some of you may be wondering, how does reducing your plastic consumption of flights equal to lesser carbon footprint? I have discussed this in my previous videos, how plastic has a huge carbon footprint of its own. If on top of traveling via air, you end up using plastic packaged products, you end up increasing your carbon footprint for your travel. Second tip would be to carry your own cutlery / straw set, because that would allow you to ditch plastic cutlery that they provide on flights. So you have your own cutlery set, you can use them, reuse them as many times as you want. And if you have your own straws, you can eliminate using straws for any drinks that you may get while you're traveling. So here's tip number 3. Carry your own headphones / earphones while you're flying. Now, a lot of flights obviously provide headphones or earphones for you to use while you're on flight for their onboard or in-flight entertainment, and most of them come packaged in plastic and they themselves are single use. So instead of using their headphones or earphones, carry your own. It's very simple. Most of us do that anyways. But if you find out that your earphones are not compatible with their system, You can also download some movies or some books or some audiobooks to listen to while you're on flight, and you have your own in-flight entertainment. Tip number 4 is to carry your own sweatshirt slash sweater, whatever suits you best, on flights, because of course it can get a little cold. I, for one, feel very cold on flights, and if I'm not carrying a sweatshirt or a sweater with me, I end up asking the cabin crew to give me a blanket, and I have always come across flight attendants providing me with a blanket that's packed in plastic. So if you carry your own sweatshirt, you don't have to get any blankets on flight. Tip number 5 is carrying your own toiletries. Now, we may get attracted by the fancy toiletries that are being provided in hotels and resorts to us, but we should avoid them because all of them are meant for single use, and as you all know by now, single use plastic and single use items are a big no-no. Tip number 6 is to carry your own towel. Now, when we are staying in hotels, there are really fluffy towels that are provided to us, which we end up using. But here's the problem with using those towels. They are generally washed after every single or second use, depending on the hotel's policy. And every time the towels are washed, there is a lot of water and detergent that is being wasted on washing our towels. So if you have your own towel, it does not have to be washed every day. It can be washed once in 5 to 7 days depending on your usage. But getting towels from the hotel is something that you should try avoiding. Tip number 7 would be to get in touch with the front desk or the reception at your hotel slash resort, wherever you're staying, and ask them to change the linen of your bedrooms once every 2 or 3 days instead of getting it changed every day. Because generally, depending on the hotel's policy, again, they tend to change the linens every single day, if not every 2 days. And most of our linens are not that soiled and they do not need to be washed every single day. So please get in touch with your reception and just let them know that I do not want my linen to be changed every day or every 2 days. If there is any requirement for you to get your linen changed, you will let them know. This tip that I just shared also has the same logic as with the towels, because every time your linen is changed, of course, it is washed and there's a lot of water that's wasted as a result of it. So if you can avoid that, that is a plus. Those are all the zero waste travel tips that I have for you today. If you have any tips of your own, please feel free to share them in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more videos from me. I'll see you later. Bye.